So those two are still avoiding each other, are they? That's an interesting state of affairs, but I'm going to hold tight to the fact that their first reaction for each other was joy. I didn't expect it to stick. Neither of them is secure enough in their own skins yet for that, but I trust that love will prevail. And if that fails, we'll try cookies and meddling. Elsie's flying was indeed one of the most beautifully daring things I've ever seen. You know, of course, that she was only able to stretch out her hands into the sky because you showed her how. I have a photograph of those hands I'm happy to give you, and one of the love on your face as you watched her fly. It is the second of those that reaches deepest into my heart. Lizard is cranky because, of our two students, she is the far more self-aware, and while she might try to wriggle off that hook in public, I don't know that she's ever had a whole lot of space to hide in her own mind. There are so many bits of truth she could have chosen to set loose at the starry plow, and she chose that one. Gave her biggest chain a name and shrunk it down to 6 letters. While she might be kicking herself all over Berkeley for it now, she has to know exactly how magnificent a choice that was. And yes, Freddie is why she could do it, but not the only reason. Lauren's security in herself is slowly leaking into Lizard's heart. You can't be around Lauren for long without wanting the same solid ground under your own feet, and I suspect you know that better than anyone. If it's being a wise old cookie monster that you seek, I suspect all you have to do is wait for the old part. Mingling with people who think I'm dead has convinced me that growing old is overrated, however. Enjoy the wisdom of youth for a while first. Looking forward to coming home. Jennie. Lizard stretched and tried to identify the sound that had woken her up. For the first time in weeks, it wasn't her alarm or one of Elsie's weird dreams. Then she heard the sound from the kitchen again and sighed. They had to have a talk about singing along to loud opera music at 6 a.m. She rolled out of bed, reached out blindly to the chair where she usually threw her clothes, and hit soft leather. Her eyes popped open, looking for the intruder, and discovered her poet pants, half hidden under a couple of other discarded outfits, the one she'd worn when she dumped her insides out all over the Starry Plow stage. Maybe someday she'd want to thank Elsie for that, but since strangling currently seemed like the better option, she'd just stay in bed until her roommate left the house. It had worked the past 2 mornings, and evening classes had pretty much kept them out of each other's way at night. That and hiding in the coffee shop until midnight. However, it didn't take a psych degree to know that Elsie's singing at 6 a.m. was another dare. The old version of her roommate had been pretty easy to get around. The new model had guts and brains and eyes that got all sad and made it difficult to be an obnoxious brat. Crap. Lizard reached for an old hoodie. It matched her disreputable mood. Time to get the inevitable over with. She probably wasn't the only one still supremely pissed about her dare. They could fight over breakfast, assuming whatever Elsie was making was edible. If it was burnt waffles again, she was moving to San Diego. Hoodie on and mind barriers up, Lizard headed for the kitchen. It wasn't until she was halfway down the stairs that the obvious sunk in. Elsie's aria wasn't the mad fighting kind, or even the slightly pissed kind. It was all pretty and giggly and hopeful. At 6 a.m.? Lizard walked slowly into the kitchen, wary now. Nobody should be that happy at the crack of dawn. Her roommate stood at the counter, making grand, sweeping gestures at a carton of eggs. Oh boy. That's probably the hard way to crack them. Elsie spun around, pulling headphones out of her ears. What? Why are you singing to the eggs? Lizard's brain was waking up enough to realize that was a fairly